how to get your spark back. Step number one is that you've got to redirect the old story that you're telling yourself. What happened? What's the story? I lost my spark because there's always a story that we have. And if you really dig a little bit deeper with that story, it's probably not the first time that story has happened. If you have lost your spark and you keep replaying the same tape over and over of what happened to you, who didn't show up for you, how you lost yourself, how it was horrible, all the different chapters of that story that start to show up, that is going to make it, your spark is being suffocated from that. Just imagine a candle and you light the candle and then your story is the lid to that candle. And you just keep putting the same lid on it and wondering why the spark keeps leaving. Well, every time you put that lid on it, it's going to do the same thing. There's a time and a place to acknowledge and work through and have compassion for the things that we've been through. But there is a certain point where the story is now part of the problem and it's keeping you stuck. This might sound like I used to before this happened. It might involve some comparison. You might feel a bit ashamed. I can't believe I did that. You might feel some sort of guilt. There might be some sort of just additional critiquing and rehashing what has happened. Instead of telling the old story, we're going to redirect that old story into compassion. No comparison. I used to, I can't believe all of that kind of stuff. No, before this happened, I was like this, and then now I'm forever changed. No permanent language, no always and never and forever, and we'll never get over this. That language is a part of the story that you have got to start giving up if you want your spark back. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to commit to one thing. Sometimes when we have lost our spark, we want to go back and get our whole spark back. The whole thing, okay? That one spark is probably made up of a lot of little different things that we're synergizing at a certain point. So sometimes when we've lost that, it just kind of ignites like this sense of urgency that we got to go back and get it all back. When you're doing too much and your expectations are too high, you're adding to the chaos of your life. Okay, your life has been feeling all over the place, and then now you've thrown 10 different individual goals on top of that. Now you're just adding more to the problem. A lot of times this can also look like actions that are rooted in guilt and shame. So many times people have a lot of goals because they have a lot of guilt and shame, and they're trying to relieve that feeling by getting after things and doing better, when really guilt and shame is an internal emotional experience, which is why sometimes people lose a lot of weight or get a job, they get a promotion, they do all kinds of things that would seemingly on the surface give them that feeling of accomplishment, but they still don't feel that way. They still don't feel forgiven from whatever they did. They still don't feel worthy of whatever they're walking into. That goal was just stirring up more guilt and shame. So you have to be so careful what energy you set your goals in. If you set a goal trying to outrun shame, it will catch you every single time. It'll catch you up, it'll send you backwards. The same thing with guilt. That means you get one thing that you can do and that you can do well. If you have lost your spark, chances are you've lost your self-esteem and your sense of self-worth on some level. And the way you build that back is by repeating behaviors and actions and steps that are going to continue to build you back up. And that means that you got to do them consistently and often. If you got 10 goals, it's going to be really hard to do all those consistently and often in the realities of the world. If you pick one thing, you can master it. You build up a little bit of strength. Next thing you know, you can step up and do something else. Next thing you know, those two, that path that you've been on strengthens you for maybe tackling another goal. But at first, you got to start with one. And then the last tip is to allow yourself to be a beginner. This catches a lot of people up. A lot of times when we have lost our spark, our inner critic comes out, and then we have a sense of ongoing frustration and maybe hopelessness about things changing. Things are never going to change. This is too hard for me. Although you may have been there before, and although you may feel like you should know how to do this, a lot of times we don't really know how to do this. Every situation is different. Every life experience is the first time you experience it, even if it feels like you've done it before. Your narrative is telling you that you've done this before, but the reality is that every new day of life has never been experienced before. So when you're trying to get your spark back today, that's going to look different than when you try to do it back in February, February 21st of 2024. Different. Okay. So you got to allow yourself to be a beginner based on what you have going on right here and right now. And the facets of doing that is to go slow. Allow yourself to go very slow. Let's think about when I think about being a true beginner, I think about how we look at and view children. Learning to walk could be an example. Do we ever harshly critique, get frustrated with, have a hopeless resolve around a child learning to walk? No, we never do. When a child is learning to walk, we are the most playful, joyful, encouraging, animated, loving, warm, excited people you've ever seen. Like, even if you were in a bad mood, let a child start trying to figure out how to walk, and it's a complete energy shift completely, right? Let them say a first word and it's just like, oh my gosh, right? Because we're allowing them to go slow. Those first couple of steps are a little shaky. They're a little shaky. They might even fall. We don't even critique the fall. We don't even bring all the sense of failure and shame to the fall. We think the fall is cute when the kids fall, right? Because that means they're trying, that they're exploring, that they're finding their way. And you have to allow yourself to do that no matter how old you are. You have to allow yourself to do that now. So it's going slow. We have to think about the small celebrations that we give a child when they're learning new things, right? Oh, everything is just the best thing ever. They might have said, ah. A child might say, ah. And because we thought they said dada, we're celebrating. We're celebrating, we're clapping, we're cheering them on. You got to give yourself some of that energy. You got to add play and joy into your life. And then there's also got to be some rest involved. And again, that's an element of lowering the expectations, pacing the sense of urgency, and making sure that you are allowing yourself to just rest and be a beginner. My grandmother is 85, I think. She's 85. She's in like a rehabilitation facility, and she's getting her strength back. So this is a woman that's lived life, honey. Lived a whole life, twice the life that I've lived, and she's having to relearn and retrain her body around some things. After she does her physical therapy, she does her little arm, spin thing, and she gets up and she stands out of her chair and she sits back down and she stands up and she sits back down. Okay, grandma, go rest, go lay down, go get you something to eat. And rest. How much grace that we give her. This is not a situation where we're like, oh, I can't believe, and now you got to learn to feed yourself again. What are you doing? You should have known how to do this. You've been here before. No, we allow for a slow pace, small celebrations, play and joy, and we allow for rest when we are allowing ourselves to truly be a beginner. Those are my 3 steps for getting your spark back. It's not going to happen overnight, but I promise you these 3 foundational steps are absolutely going to put you in a position where 2, 3, 6 months from now, you are going to start to see the light come on again. You're going to start to see it. And then once you do this with one area of life, we're all going to go through life. And I'm telling you guys this, I'm telling myself this, we're all going to have life happen, but we're also going to have the formula for how to make it something that we can bounce back from.